Okay. We are live, I believe. Let's see. Here we are. Check, 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 check. Is sound good? Just testing out sound. Can you hear?
It's a little quiet.
Okay. I'll check, 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 check. Yeah, I can turn up the levels on the camera. All right, let's see how. Is that better? I guess you can't hear me yet, but yeah, 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 yeah. Damn, there's a lot of latency in this boy.
You what?
There's a lot of latency in this.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. What up, peeps? How is everyone doing? I need to move my computer. And we got both channels now, so wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna move my computer real quick. Both channels. One moment, please. Need one of those. What are those cards?
The
The
what?
broadcast will resume shortly.
Oh, yeah. You can do that on OBS.
Can I?
Yeah.
It's all
All
good.
that stuff you can do on OBS. It's sweet.
OBS is the goat, man.
Cool.
Is that extension cord being used?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's for my drive. It doesn't reach Patrick's extension thing.
Alright. I'll deal with that in a sec. There we go. Now we're better set up. Alright. What is going on? Let me. Oh my god, I have so many tabs open. Hang on. What are we doing? All right, now we wait. There we go. Now we're better set up. Oh yeah, that's better latency. Okay. Okay, so we'll. Why is my screen so dim? Do that. Let's see if anyone joins. Maybe this will be a short one. How do I update the thumbnail? Or maybe that'll update on its own. All right. Huh?
I'm going to hood up.
Hood up.
My editing.
Okay. I'm gonna pin a comment. Beautiful. Beautiful. Filming on the FX3. 35mm G Master. Okay. We're getting set up there. It's a little toasty in here, Sam.
Yeah.
Huh? I need to figure out the plug though, because my computer's not charging right now.
Oh, shoot.
So I've got to sting it. Overkill. All right. We're getting settled. Let's see if anyone joins. We might not get anyone. Well, Sam, depending on when you get that YouTube video done, maybe that'll go up today.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right. Well, if you're watching after the fact, feel free to leave a comment, say what's up. If you missed the live, leave a question. I'll answer it. Updated office tour coming soon. Made a lot of changes over the last year. Gone through probably 5 different versions of the office. And we're finally settled. A sneak peek?
Well, to that side over there.
Okay.
You know.
No, actually, I don't want to mess up the framing.
That's true.
Also, it's spoiler alert for the office tour. Updated office tour. Probably coming in the next month. New YouTube video is going up either today, tomorrow, Sunday. Talking about the FX3, why I switched, and what our plans are with Sony going forward. So check that out when it goes up. Sam's in the background over there working on it right now, so I'm not sure when. You'll probably get that done today, right? You'll get that done today.
Yeah.
YouTube? Yeah. Okay. So it'll probably go up, I don't know, maybe today, maybe Sunday. Probably not Saturday, but I also want to play around with different upload schedules and different days to upload. So let me know if you guys want to see different upload days or different frequency of uploads. How do I change this thumbnail? I feel like that might be part of it. What else? What else is going on? Trying to figure out our VND situation. We're using Polar Pro right now, Peter McKinnon VND for our FX3s, but I'm a little, I don't know. It's definitely a switch for us to go to VND when all of our cameras have had internal ND. So trying to figure out the best system. Polar Pro has 2 different NDs for going through like 2 to 9 stops. I kind of want one that's like an all-in-one system, like the Tiffin, but then I think you get more like artifacts in the images. So trying to figure out our ND situation with the FX3s, and then obviously once we get an FX6, that won't really matter that much, but for the FX3s at least. So let me know if anyone has any suggestions on VND that you like that preferably has hard stops. That's the other thing too. Polar Pro is nice because it has hard stops, and I don't know. It seems like it doesn't really affect the image too much with the actual glass. So yeah. I actually have one right over here. I also really like how it's stored too. What's up, Foreign Productions? How you doing? What have I missed so far? Absolutely nothing. I was just getting set up, and we just rearranged the office. So we're going to be doing an updated office tour soon. We're still in the same office that we've been in since this YouTube channel started. So since, I don't know, 2 years ago when we did that first video with the updated office tour. But we've gone through like 5 different variations because we've just gotten more and more gear. And so this is a pretty small space. It's like 600 square feet, 650. And we have a lot of gear. So, and we've gotten a lot of gear since that last office tour. So anyway, we've done some rearranging and updates and all of that. So, we'll be making an updated video of that soon. And yeah, not much else. I'm talking about ND. Do you have any? We're obviously having to use VND now that we have FX3s. So I am currently using Polar Pro. So the like Peter McKinnon Signature Edition Mark II Polar Pro VND, and it's good. It's just expensive, and it is. You obviously have to have 2 different NDs. So if you want the full coverage from 2 to 5 stops and then 6 to 9 stops, you have to have 2 different sets of ND. I know that there's drawbacks to having a full system that's like 2 to 9 stops of ND, but it's just kind of annoying to deal with 2 different ND filters for one camera. Especially if you get another FX3, then we basically have to double the amount of these that we have. So yeah, I don't know. So you're using the 2 to 5 stops only. The thing is though that if we're doing an outside interview, we will definitely need more than 5 stops of ND. Like thinking about when we had our C300 and C70, when we were doing outdoor stuff, most of the time we were either at 6 stops or 8 stops of ND. And there was actually a few times that we'd be at 10 stops of ND if it's like really, really bright sunlight. So yeah, 2 to 5 is normally what we're going to use, but I also want to have the 6 to 9 for like when we need it. 'Cause there are those times that you're going to need it. And so yeah, that's kind of the issue that I'm facing. It's just more stuff to carry. And like, I knew that that's what we were getting into. That's what we signed up for, by having an FX3, but it's just taken some getting used to there. Carlos, new subscriber. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What are you up to, Carlos? Are you into video? Are you into photography? What kind of stuff do you do? I haven't run into a situation where I need to cut more than 5 stops, but I'm sure that time will come. Yeah. When you're using your ND, tell me like what you're typically using it for. Because for us, when we need more ND, it's usually so either we're outside or we're doing an indoor interview, but we're against really big windows with a lot of sunlight coming in. And so in those situations, we definitely need that additional ND. For setups that we have more time, we actually have ND rolls, so we can put those we can put the ND film on windows to actually balance out the light from that. And so then we would probably just rock with the 2 to 5. But obviously that's going to take more time, and sometimes you're not going to have that time when you're doing a setup. So these guys are good. It's just they're expensive for basically the full coverage. It's like $450 to $500, which is freaking crazy. And I know some of that is some markup by having Peter McKinnon's name on it, but from what I've seen, Freewell is definitely with that, we want to have something where we can quickly say, all right, let's go to 2 stops, let's go to 4 stops, 5 stops, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. There's the whole ND thing is a big debate. It's a big deal though, because you can buy a really expensive camera, you can buy a really expensive lens, but then you're putting potentially a cheap piece of glass in front of all of that expensive gear, and it could potentially mess up the image. So ND is an important thing. I saw a comparison. I was watching like a comparison video, and I saw someone liken it to, you buy like a really expensive sports car and then you put cheap tires on it. It's kind of like that equivalent. Sports or event coverage, anytime an interview, I've been able to do it indoors. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess for us, it's like for sports and event coverage, I'm actually surprised that you haven't had to use more ND than that. I guess the other question is, are you okay boosting or bumping the iris down? So for us, typically we want to keep stuff pretty close to wide open. So like if we're shooting on G Master, we want to be at like 1.2, 1.4, 1.8, where like we don't want to go down to f16 or something like that. But for sports and event stuff, I feel like that's almost important to go to that. So maybe that's another thing where you don't need it as much. You don't need as much ND because you're already kind of having that done through closing the iris a little bit. Do you use the Sony top handle with the XLRs, and do you find it useful? Do you use timecode, and if so, what system do you use? What up, Tio? So to answer your first question, so far we have, I would say like 95% of the time we've used the FX3 with the top handle. I'm a huge fan of the top handle, with some sort of aftermarket updates and fixes. So I can do a rig breakdown at some point, but we have the small rig half cage on the FX3, and then we also have the small rig extension for the top handle. And then we also have this little thing that's by small rig that goes on top of the little audio box part with the XLR inputs. So with that stuff, it feels way more solid. You have a better grip on the handle. So I'm a really big fan of the top handle. But when we've used the FX3 on a gimbal, we definitely have had to take the top handle off, and we've actually had to take the cage off as well. So it's just the sort of bare bones camera. But yeah, top handle is huge. I don't even think you can buy an FX3 without a top handle. I know you can buy an FX30, but if there was an option, I would say 100% get a top handle, because if you're doing anything with audio, it's crucial. And also if you are wanting a good like contact point and way to hold the camera, top handle is nice to have. F4, 60, 120. Yeah, very true. The thing, it's funny because when we're doing an interview outside, we basically have to open everything up because we're shooting at 24, and so our shutter is going to be 1/50, and the aperture needs to be, we need to get shallow background unless there's a very specific reason for not doing that. So yeah, so that's where we need a lot of ND. But yeah, shooting at 60 B-roll, like if we're shooting B-roll with 60, we don't do 120 very much, but if we're doing B-roll at 60, yeah, we usually won't need that much ND. But why did my thing just click? Yeah, really liking the FX3 so far. I was saying earlier in the live, going to be posting a video this weekend talking about in more detail why I switched to the FX ecosystem from Canon. I've said some of it before, and I said some of it in the last comparison video, the FX3 versus C70, but this video is really breaking down in detail like the reasons and just kind of explaining. And I think it'll probably resonate with a lot of people that are on Canon right now. I've actually seen from that video and then like other comments from other videos and stuff where people are making the switch. I feel like it's happening a lot lately, switching to Sony from Canon, and typically it's people coming from a C70. The C300 is a lot less common for people to have and switch from, but because the C70 is a lot more accessible as like a sort of, I don't want to call it an entry-level cinema camera, but it's a more accessible price point for a cinema camera. So people are in that, and then they realize that they can get the same and more out of an FX3 for $1,500 cheaper. That's where a lot of people have been making that switch. I take it you don't use timecode much? Not really. We don't. For most stuff, we're usually just rocking like internal audio and everything else. We're not working with like sound ops or anything like that where we need to sync time code. There are some like bigger shoots where we'll use it, but we haven't had a situation with the FX3 yet. I do know that I don't know if Sony makes it or if it's third party, but you can get a time code like adapter or something that goes into the camera and then it goes out as a time code connector. But I think that for those bigger shoots where we're going to be rocking time code, that is going to be where the FX3 or excuse me, the FX6 or 6s come in, because for that type of shoot, typically an FX6 is going to fit the build better in a variety of ways, from mounting points to presets, internal ND, SDI, and then obviously time code. So I think in those situations, we're probably going to be rocking with an FX6, not an FX3. But I do know that you can get a time code adapter for the FX3 on B&H or Amazon or whatever. FX3 has been my favorite camera to use. Yeah, I've shot with Panasonic a fair amount. A couple of the jobs that I used to have had like GH4s, so I would shoot with those, and they're good cameras. I'm just not super. I don't know. I haven't paid attention to Panasonic, but do you just have one FX3 or do you have multiple? And if so, do you have other cameras as well? I know you've had a lot of Sony cameras. Do you have several cameras in that package, or are you just rocking with, if you're doing event stuff, I would assume that you're maybe also taking photos. So is that maybe on an A7 or an A1 or something like that, and then you have the FX3 as video? Also, by the way, how is audio sounding? I am. I selected the input for both right now, so it's it should be sounding better. Okay, cool. Sam in the background said it sounds good. Audio is good. Sweet. Two GH5s looking to upgrade FX30. So, tell me, Tio, are the GH5s? I'm not sure. So are they? I don't think they're full frame sensor. Are they micro four thirds? Or no, that's a mount. What am I thinking? What size sensor are the GH5s? And then switching to the FX30s, is that, or FX30, what's kind of your thought process there? Because I'm thinking about maybe doing a couple FX30s as like a podcast setup, so we can, those are cheap enough cameras that have the ability to do full size XLR, where we could just, you know, put those in some permanent setup somewhere and you know, rock a podcast with that, and then it doesn't really matter if it's full frame or Super 35 in that case. Micro four thirds, okay. Sounds good. What up, Joel? Glad you can make it for this one. You've been putting out some killer content, man. I love that style where it's just super raw, and I think that's what in a lot of ways people need, where they can kind of see unedited, uncut, what it looks like on a production, what to expect, what to go into it, you know, what to know going into it. So yeah, great content. I'm moving to ASPC, so a bigger sensor. Yeah, okay. And then what kind of glass are you rocking right now? So would you be wanting to upgrade to Sony glass? I guess that would be F mount, or F glass, not F mount glass, but F glass, because I know Sony full frame would be FE glass. Or do you have other stuff that you want to adapt to? Yeah, Joel with the production cart. Joel, do you have remind me, you have a innovative, is it an NXT or is it an Apollo, or is it something else? I might be thinking of something else. We've played around with getting an NXT, like a 42. We've rented them several times for certain shoots, and it's so nice to have it. It's kind of one of those things that you don't really realize you need until you have one, and then once you have one, you're like, how was I doing this before? Manual focus, that's going to be a big change. Sony autofocus is pretty wild. There's like a lot of different settings and like quirks with Sony autofocus. And so we're still playing around with that, like trying to dial in, like figuring out what the right type of autofocus is. Because there's like, I think there's track assist and some other types, but yeah, I do know for a fact that Sony autofocus is insane. Even compared to Canon autofocus was good. Like coming from the C70 and the C300, those were good. But the level of autofocus and precision with the FX3 is definitely a pretty big step up from the Canon system, from the Canon cinema system. The other thing to talk about is NAB coming up. Canon basically just confirmed that they are announcing a C200 Mark II and a C700 Mark II, which is basically what's been the rumors for a while now. C700 Mark II, probably, you know, not in the market for most people. That's going to be a pretty high-end production camera. But the C200 Mark II is a really interesting camera. They haven't really said what it's going to be, but you can assume that it's essentially going to be a cheaper C300, maybe. So So I'm just kind of curious to see where that fits into the C70 and the C300 Mark III. I'm gonna assume that it's maybe a cheaper C70, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. And I also don't know why Canon would need three different cinema cameras that all have the same sensor at different price points. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Voyager 36, yeah. That's a very solid cart. Love that thing. And it's just so cool how much customization you could do to it and like really just make it your own. And I'm pretty sure from what I remember, you have a van, which is awesome. We had a van for a little bit. But I think with having a cart like that, having a van where you can just push it into, not have to take it down and collapse it, that makes a big difference too, because then you can literally customize it how you want it and then keep it that way basically forever. Where if you are transporting it in like an SUV, like in our case, we got to take it apart. But it still, takes, I don't know, 5 minutes, if that, to set up and take out. So not even that, a couple minutes, but still a good cart. You'll never find IBIS like the GH5. Yeah, I think the IBIS in the FX3 has been pretty good, honestly. We haven't played around with it too much, and we've only done like the standard. When I was doing research on the FX3, I did see that there's like some type of stabilization that you can take into a software. I don't know. Maybe one of you guys can tell me what that is, but yeah, that is potentially an option with Sony, but the standard IBIS, the standard stabilization, has been pretty good. And then also if you have an OSS lens, so we have a 24-105 OSS that we just got. I think that combined with in-camera stabilization and then maybe throwing a little bit of warp on post, like that is basically a gimbal at that point, or a tripod. You could literally make it look like a static shot. I'm just trying to get clients. I have everything I need to do smaller productions with no clients, no flavor imaging. So, okay, let's try and help you out here a little bit. What are you, where are you located? Are you in the US? Are you in a different place? And what, do you have any, like what kind of work have you done in the past? What kind of experience do you have? Have you ever worked with clients before? Have you ever done, paid video projects? Tell me a little bit about your situation and I can try and help you a little bit more. Tamron 17 to 70. Wow, that's a big range. I didn't know. Damn. With the constant 2.8. I didn't know that lens was a thing. That's kind of cool. 25. That's true. Okay, so 25 to 105. Yeah. That's cool that it's 2.8. That's nice. Our 24 to 105 is a f4 constant. A full frame. Yeah. I'm slightly torn between FX30 and S5 Mark II. Man, I would get the FX30. I'm team Sony at this point. And I wasn't before. For those of you that are joining now, I'm going to be posting a video probably this weekend, today, tomorrow, Sunday, basically explaining the switch from Canon to Sony and really getting deep into the reasons that I switched after essentially an entire lifetime on Canon. From when I started as a little kid to where I'm at now, I've always had Canon, and the reasons for switching, like for me, had to be pretty significant to justify the switch, and they are. So I go into pretty good detail about all the different reasons and talking about all the different kind of points of why I made the switch. And so far I've had the camera for 3 weeks now. Really happy with it. There's not a whole lot that is like, there's really nothing that's been a surprise. I'm trying to think of quirks. Honestly, the biggest thing is probably ND, having to deal with VNDs, which we knew what we were going into, but it's just still, it's annoying, like coming from all of our systems having an internal ND. It's just another thing to deal with, and then having to have step-up rings for the different the different lenses and everything. So, that's one thing. But again, I knew that going into it, I knew what to expect. And there's not a perfect camera system. So it's just one of the things that sort of you have to kind of weigh and balance and figure out what you're willing to sacrifice. Commit to one and then build from there. Yeah, I agree with what Foreign Productions is saying. And then Catalyst Browse is the stabilization software. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Commit to one and build. The good thing with Sony is if you want to start at the FX30, which is a really good starting point, you can build up from there. And, eventually if you want to move into FX3 territory or FX6 territory, you have the ecosystem within Sony at that point, and you can kind of build up over time. And that's like probably the biggest thing that happened naturally with me and Canon, where I've been on Canon for so long, and I've just basically gradually built up my lens inventory and camera inventory and everything else that comes with Canon. So, what Form Production said is really a good point, where it's just, pick one, pick a system, commit to it, and then over time, it's not something that you need to, say I'm buying 5 lenses, 2 cameras right now. It's something that you build up over time. So you buy a lens when you can afford it. Then a few months later, maybe you buy another lens, or you save up for another camera. But I do think, in my opinion, it's pretty important to stick within the same ecosystem. I'm not a huge fan, unless for very specific reasons. I'm not a huge fan of having different camera systems at once, at least for video. We have Canon for photo, but that's kind of different. Yeah, Joel, you've ditched your gimbal, active stabilization, and OSS. Yeah, little bit of post if you're shaky, but the OSS is pretty wild on the 24-105. I'm not sure. Let me know if you guys know if there's any other lenses that do have OSS. I know. So the 24-105 isn't a G Master. It's like a G lens, which is fine. I don't know. Can someone tell me if there's any G Master lenses with OSS? I don't know if there are. St. Louis, been hired on as a camera op a nice amount. I've done interviews for one company on my own so far. Okay, so you have experience. Are you trying to, this is one of the things that you need to figure out pretty early on. You need to figure out the direction that you're wanting to go in regards to either freelancing and working for other productions, other companies, and providing your services, still working freelance, being able to have control there, or do you want to go the route of being the production company where you're selling, you're talking to clients, you're working directly with clients and agencies, and then you're facilitating the team, you're building the team. They're very different paths that you take, and so it's important to figure out which one speaks to you more, and which one is more exciting for you, and then you kind of figure out your approach from there. So let me know which one you're thinking about there. I want to upgrade from Micro Four Thirds. Make sure I select a camera that will fit my current needs. Tia, what are... Oh, wait, maybe you're saying it right here. Not really, I've been fortunate enough that I can light. However, I recently did my first wedding. Okay. So Tia, what kinds of productions are you mostly doing? Wedding stuff? Are you doing a little bit of everything? What are your current needs? And why? What are you kind of weighing between the FX30 and the GH5, the Mark II? I see Foreign Production just said FX30 for sure. Yeah, the thing with coming back to no flavor imaging, the thing with getting clients is, and the reason that I asked that question was that you got to differentiate who your clients are. Whether you're freelance or a production company, you have clients, but the clients are different. So if you're a production company, the clients are typically going to be businesses, companies, brands. If you are freelance, so if you're a specific role within production or you're a cam up or an editor or whatever, typically your clients are going to be the production companies, directors, agencies, other people like that. So no matter what, you need to do selling, you need to do outreach, you need to do all of that stuff, but that will kind of help you figure out who you need to reach out to, the types of people that you need to reach out to, and figuring out kind of which path to go there. I want to be the production company. I do interview, B-roll content for businesses, which is, yep. Okay. So right now I've only be me and contact to help. Okay. Yep. So, all right. That helps. So basically you need to do outreach to businesses. If you haven't seen my video on how to get video production clients, I'm going to pin it for you so you can check that out. That is a really good way. Bottom line is especially the production company route, you have to get really good and really comfortable with sales. And it's a hard thing for a lot of creatives to do, me included, that have come from a creative background and don't have experience in sales. But it's something that is crucial for getting clients. So let me pin this comment for you here so that you can check this out. All right, so check that video out. That is the how to get. All right, so that's pinned up there. So if you haven't, maybe you've already seen it, but if you haven't seen it, check that out. That I have found is one of the best ways to start the relationship building with clients and potential clients and businesses and everything else, is doing that email outreach. The important thing, and I've said this many times before, is you want to provide value. So you don't want to, jump into a potential client and basically just, say, hey, do you need a video? You want to think about ways that you can position yourself and think about it from their perspective too. So what is going to catch their attention, like when you're reaching out? If we're talking about like cold outreach, what's going to catch their attention? What's going to make them want to continue the conversation and not just think, oh, this guy's just trying to sell me on something? Because if you think about it, everybody has those walls put up in their heads about salespeople and everything else. If you get a call from a telemarketer, you don't want to talk to them. Maybe what they're selling is valuable to you, but because the initial communication is that of they're trying to get something out of you, which is money, you put up those walls and you don't want to talk. So you have to think about it from that perspective, and just understand that it's a long game to get clients. It's a long play. It's not something that happens overnight. And one of the biggest chunks is relationship building and nurturing relationships. So you have to start somewhere. That's where the email contact comes in. But you build that up over time. You build that relationship up. You build that trust. And it takes time. Some of our best clients, it has taken 6 to 12 months from start to client, in terms of starting the communication, starting the relationship building, doing follow up, maintaining communication, building trust. It doesn't happen overnight. And especially for clients, like if I'm talking about like retainer clients, it takes a long time because it's a lot of money at stake for a company, and there's a lot of trust in being a video partner for a client long term. It's a lot more commitment than just doing one video one time. So no matter what, it takes trust, it takes time, but watch that video if you haven't. Yeah, no flavor imaging. Thanks. I've been nervous. Yeah, it's tough. Sales is so hard for. I mean, sales is a hard thing. If you're not if you're not born with the ability, but it can be learned, and it's just something that is it's part of the journey. If you want to start a production company, you have to do sales. Maybe eventually you get to a point where you can hire a salesperson and let them do it, but you're not going to get to that point without first knowing how to do sales yourself and getting out of your comfort zone. But that's what it takes. So using the lens for gimbal, Sony E10 to 18. Oh, I didn't realize that was. Yeah, I bet that is. We have I got a G Master 14 mil 1.4 that we just used last week for some real estate stuff, and we put that on a gimbal, and that was crazy. Full frame at 14 millimeters is wild. Yeah, like I've said, we've been on Super 35 sensors for a very long time now with the C70, C200, C300. And so going to full frame has been one of the coolest parts about the FX3, one of the most exciting parts, and one of the big reasons that made the switch. Definitely not the only reason, but yeah, having full frame capabilities. We work in a lot of tight spaces. I don't know if that's something I haven't really talked about too much, but we work in a lot of tight spaces, and so like doctors' offices, clinics, small rooms, and so the full frame is actually really it makes a big difference in having more like depth to work with within a small area, and being able to bring someone closer to the camera, but still make it look, wide and get a nice background, nice shallow background behind them. So with the Super 35, it was a little bit harder to get to work in those spaces. So that's also been one of the nice things about having full frame. Have you ever encountered a situation where a video didn't offer the value you said it would? That is a great question. Yeah, I mean, inevitably, you're gonna, it's not, videos are not gonna work out the same way for everyone, and expectations are, sometimes gonna be different. I think the big thing is you don't want to promise anything necessarily. So you don't want to guarantee anything. You don't want to promise anything. The bottom line is that video is important and video works, because I mean, it's look at TikTok, look at Instagram Reels, look at YouTube. Video is everywhere, and there's a reason that it's everywhere. So you need to just understand that it's not, you're not selling snake oil. You're selling something that is actually very effective and is something that is sought after by just about every business, and company and brand and organization. Like, I think all of them in some way or another either know or believe that video could benefit them in some way. But, like you said, or like you asked, sometimes it doesn't always work out the way that a client expected a video would, or if you promise certain things and those promises aren't met, then that can create issues. So I think my biggest tip there is to really lay out expectations properly with a client, but also, like, don't promise anything. Get to the same understanding that video is valuable. What you do is valuable to a client. And the other thing too that can help is having a better understanding of strategy. That's something that we've started to do more, is focus a lot more on the strategy and the reason behind certain videos, and understanding what a client wants to get out of something. And that's that's an important thing to consider too, because a client could see a cool video. They're like, oh, we want a video like this. But then when you start to talk to them and ask them, okay, what do you want to get out of this type of video? They may say something different that is not in line with what that video will be able to do. So I think the biggest tip that I can give is be an expert. Learn. If you're not an expert, then learn. Do research, study up, learn about video strategy, and experimenting with different things and all of that, and then be that expert for your clients to give them sort of evidence-backed thoughts and providing them stuff that is probably going to work, but don't give guarantees. Don't say, oh, this is gonna 5x your revenue, or you get your money back or something like that. Because the other thing with video is there's a lot of other factors involved depending on what kind of video we're talking about. But it's not like a magic potion that's just gonna get you more sales, or 2x your revenue or something like that. So there's definitely more to it, but being an expert definitely helps, and that helps build trust with clients. And then that also helps separate you from other people that are maybe trying to do the same thing and trying to create videos for a client. If you can kind of separate yourself as someone more than just a videographer, that can be pretty valuable to a client as well. All right, what other questions? What are the questions we got? Hit me with them. We got 22 watching right now. Let's hear some questions from people. Anything like, I can talk about sales stuff, also FX3 stuff, also C70 stuff, or anything in the creative. I started posting on TikTok a little while ago. I'm up to almost 1,000 followers on there. TikTok is really interesting, and it's so different than YouTube. Going back to actually the last point that I was just talking about, being an expert, one of the reasons that I started the channel, I started posting on TikTok, started doing all of this stuff is, it's fun, and I want to grow these channels and in communities and everything else. But then another part of it is I want to understand better what works, what doesn't work in regards to content on these types of platforms, and then be able to share my real direct experience in those to clients. And that positions me and our company as more of an expert there, because we've actually experienced it, we've done it, and so we can share with our clients direct experience of what works and what doesn't work. I also am thinking about, there's a chance I'm going to buy another FX3 like ASAP. Right now it's tough because we went from having a C300 and a C70 to, we still have our R6, but we really don't use that for any video stuff. So going from those two cameras to right now coming to one camera, one FX3. And I talk about this a little bit in the video that'll be posting, but I kind of want to wait until NAB comes out to like really invest more heavy in Sony, just in case they come out with like a surprise curveball FX3 Mark II. Like, I know they came out with I don't know what it's called, but it's like the sort of baby brother to the FX3. They just announced that. But on the very slim chance that Sony comes out with FX3 Mark II with internal ND. I know they're not going to, but if they do, and I bought 3 FX3s before that, I'd be a little annoyed. So I kind of want to wait, but at the same time, I want to be realistic, and we could we get double booked. And so, if we need 2 cameras on 2 different shoots, right now we only have 1 camera. So I'm kind of running into that even for like next week. And so there's a chance I might be buying another FX3 here real soon. And then probably waiting. Definitely, I want to wait at least until NAB to buy an FX6, but that'll be the next one. Next one after that. Yeah, Tio, keep us updated on what you decide. I'm definitely curious. My personal bias opinion is Sony. Is the FX30. I think it's an awesome camera. Um, but Panasonic is great too. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them, but I think in talking about sort of future proofing and um, sort of being position yourself for potential growth and investments in like larger camera systems, Sony would be the way to go. Because if you continue to grow and get bigger, and maybe you have a need for a bigger bodied cinema camera, you have the FX6, you have the FX9. Panasonic, you don't really have anything from what I know. Are you on primes for the part? Are you on primes for the part? Primes for the, are you on primes for the part? I don't know what that means. Are you on primes for the part? I don't know what that means. Am I shooting on primes? I don't know. Can you clarify that? How do you like those Amaran PT4Cs? Dude, they are awesome. I really like them. I'm gonna probably, so we have 2 of the 4-footers. I'm probably gonna pick up more. They are really, really good, except for one thing, and that is the output of them. I actually didn't notice when I bought them or when they announced them. I think they kind of kept it a little more hush hush, but the output is kind of bad on the PT4Cs and all of the PT tubes. Comparing them to like Titan tubes or even Nanlite Pavo tubes, typically the 4-foot variations of those types of tubes are around 700 lux. The PT4C tubes are around like 330. So that's the one drawback. I kind of knew there was going to be something because it kind of felt like it was too good to be true. But I still really like them. And I think for like, 85, 90% of our use with the tubes, we don't need the extra output. They're more going to be for practical, accent, stuff like that. We're not really going to use them for like key lights or anything like that. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of them. I think Amaran did a really good job. And I'm still going to be buying more of them. I think I want to buy probably one more set of the 4-footers and then probably one set of the 2-footers, and then we'll have a pretty good kit there. Are you mostly on primes? There we go. Yep. So I've kind of invested a lot into the G Master collection here in the last few weeks since we got the FX3. We have a 35 mil 1.4, which is what I'm shooting on right now. And then we have a 24 1.4. We have an 85 1.2, I think. Do you know what the you setting those up?
Yeah.
Do you know what the 85 is? Is it 1.2 or 1.4?
I'm pretty sure it's 1.4.
Okay. Sam's going to check. But I think the 85 is 1.4. And then still waiting to get a 50 1.2. That guy is pricey. And then going to get a 24 to thank you. Yeah, it's 1.4. So here's the 85. Let me make sure that's focused. Focus, please. There we go. So that's the 85. So we're going to get, and then we have the 14. We have the 14 1.8. So yeah, just need the 50 and then the 24 to 105 or the 24 to 70, and then we have a 24 to 105, which is the G, not G Master, but friggin' awesome lens for the price. And the OSS is real nice on that guy. Yeah, G Master lens. That's one of the things that I was trying to figure out. Was do I want G Master lenses or do I want Sigma Art lenses? And I went with G Master because, from my understanding, the autofocus is a little bit more accurate. Or not accurate, a little bit quicker, a little bit snappier. And yeah, the Sigma lenses are still really good, but yeah. Oh yeah, Sam has a let me get it this way. Got those tubes set up.
I'm trying to change the color. What color do you want?
Surprise me. We do rainbow.
That's true. Hold on, let me do
Yeah, the tubes. It's really nice having pixel tubes too. I haven't worked too much with pixel tubes, and so yeah, having that, I could actually connect on Citus Link right now.
Go do it.
Yeah, let me do that. Also, if you're using aperture lights and you don't have Citus Link or Amaranth lights, get Citus Link. It is such a good tool. So I'm gonna get some rainbow action going on these lights right now. Yeah, that's sick. Let's see. How do we do this? Okay, so we're gonna do pixel, and then we're gonna do rainbow. We're gonna start it. Is that starting? Maybe. There we go.
I'm trying to see. Trying to make them even.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe bring yours over a little bit.
This way?
Yeah, they look good. I mean, I'm not centered in the frame, so it's fine. Great set of G primes. Yeah, the G Masters are freaking solid. And what I'm really excited about is to do a 2 camera setup with like an interview setup with the 35 and the 85, because that's like for full frame. Again, we haven't been on full frame for a while, so I'm really excited to get a 35 that's kind of a little bit of a wide, and then get that 85 that's tight but not too tight. And I think that'll be like a really good 2 cam setup.
Can you bring the brightness down a tiny bit?
Yep. So I'm messing with Citus Link right now. Let me see if I can show you guys.
The brightness. Yeah, I heard you talking about the brightness. That's right.
Yeah, we're at you want me to bring it down or up?
I don't know.
We're at 12% right now.
Oh, really? That's 12?
Yeah. They're bright. Whoops, that's not I want to get the pixel effect going. There we go. So that's 100. Like, they're definitely bright, but they are not as bright as you would expect with a Astera, a Titan tube, or a Pavo tube. So I don't know. It is what it is, but there's there's way offs for everything. So it is what it is.
That's cool.
Do you shoot handheld often? What prime lenses would you recommend for handheld footage? Yeah, we shoot handheld unless we're on stick. So like obviously if we're doing an interview, if we're talking specifically about B-roll, probably shoot 90% on handheld, and then the other 10% is like gimbal, easy rig, Dana Dolly, miscellaneous stuff. But the vast majority is handheld. And honestly, I mean, any prime lens is going to be good if you're able to balance, not balance, if you're able to get a good grip on the camera. The important part is you just have, if you're shooting handheld, you have a lot of points of contact on the camera to your body, because that's going to eliminate shakiness in the footage. And yeah, obviously the wider the lens, the less noticeable the shakes are. The tighter the lens, the more noticeable. But I even used a um, I used a 85 for some B-roll last week, and completely handheld, and it was nice. I really didn't have any. I don't even think I had stabilization on, and it was good.
You
All right.
should schedule the video to premiere in a little bit, and everyone that's watching your stream can
Is
jump
it
on
ready?
premiere. Yeah,
Almost.
I'm exporting it.
Sweet. All right. So Sam is exporting the YouTube video right now. So we're gonna schedule it to go live here in a little bit. So you guys will have first access to the YouTube video. We'll probably end here a little bit before that, so maybe another 10 minutes or so, 10 minutes. But check out that YouTube video. Again, I kind of go pretty deep into the reasons for switching, and I think that just from everything that I've read from other comments and talking to other people, I think it'll probably resonate with Canon owners, with some Canon owners right now, because I don't know. I think Canon just has been slacking a little bit the last few years, and I hope they step it up. I mean, the other thing that I kind of talk about in the video is cameras are just tools. Sometimes people forget about that, including me. You get really invested, attached to one camera system, but at the end of the day, it is just a tool. And you just need to find the best tool for you to, tell the best stories, shoot the best images. So if Canon steps it up a lot and, makes some crazy 180, then maybe we'll switch back to Canon. But I don't really see that happening. So for the time being, we're on Sony and we're here to stay. Do do do.
You should make the color that cool, like fire sort of thing in the background.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So I'll probably hop off in a couple minutes here. If anyone has any last questions or thoughts or anything like that, let me know. And then when I hop off, I'm gonna get the YouTube video posted. It was a quick turnaround. Normally I schedule them out, so we'll get it posted, and maybe we can do a little inside thing. So if you guys watch the YouTube video, comment something that no one else would understand. What do we want to do? What do we want to have the comment be? Some kind of inside joke for only, not joke, but an inside thing. What ideas do we have here for the live stream? Someone give me a good idea here. The secret society. I also want to do a rig walkthrough on my FX3 soon. I'm waiting for a couple more pieces and parts to come, but once that's set, we're just waiting for a V-mount plate to come. Once that's set, I'm going to do a rig breakdown of that, because I love seeing those. I watched a lot of those when I was trying to decide on the FX3 to see sort of what its capabilities are once stuff was built out on it. So our setup is kind of, it's relatively minimal. It's relatively small, but it's still like very capable and has a lot of stuff that can be done within it. All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This was fun. This is the second live stream. Did the first one a few weeks ago. Definitely going to be doing more of these. These are super fun. I'll kind of get both of these last two lives. Just did obviously on Friday, but I want to get a more solid schedule and everything else, and then try and get more people to come through and all that. So the YouTube video should be posted in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So refresh the channel, check it out. It is a good one. It is really, it's a lot of me talking, but there's a lot of stuff that can resonate with people that are on Canon right now or different camera systems, but specifically Canon. And then also people that are on Sony. I think it could, it could be validation for some Sony people. They're like, okay, you made the right choice. But yeah, check that out. Hashtag I watched the live. Yes, let's do it. Hashtag I watched the live. Comment that if you're on the live when that video posts. It is going to be titled something, why I switched to Sony. Can't think of what the title, I can't remember what it is. Something like that, why I switched it to Sony. That'll be up in about 10 to 15 minutes. So yeah, with that, thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate all of you being here, your comments, everything else.